Loyalty, family, fun. Those are my core values. Do you know what yours are? What if I told you that getting crystal clear on the three things that matter most to you could help you know exactly what to say yes to and what to say no to, and finally, quiet that inner voice of doubt? Hey there, I'm Jody, host of Beyond Empty Nest, mindset and happiness coach, and proud recovered self-doubter. I know how hard it is and how hard it can be to figure out what you really want in this chapter, but there is a way to start. We have a simple yet powerful tool that we use in the coaching world called the Wheel of Life. And I'm going to link it to the show notes below so you can grab it after this episode. But for now, I've brought in an expert to guide us through creating your own personal guidance system, a system that helps you live in alignment with who you really are and stop the doubting. Doesn't that sound freeing? Just try this with me for a moment. Say this out loud. I'm living my truth. Go ahead, push pause and say it again. I'm living my truth. Then hit play because we're diving in with Erin Barry, founder of Live Your Truth Journey, empowering you and me and all of us to start living our truth. Hello, Erin, and welcome to Beyond Emptiness. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Hi, Jody. I'm so excited to be here with you on the Beyond Emptiness. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, you're welcome. And we are going to dive into our topic soon enough, daring to live in your personal power in the present moment. But I want you to share a little bit about you and your story, Erin. What led you to the Live Your Truth journey for yourself?
It was my own journey of learning how to live in the present moment.
Mhm.
And I'll begin just sharing that living your truth for me, how I've defined it
Yeah.
is being your authentic being, doing what's most important to you so that you experience happiness and fulfillment, creating the life of your dreams and desires. And that definition came through my transformation because I was definitely a people pleaser that was conforming to a lot of societal and family expectations. And I definitely got stuck and was living un, an unhealthy, but also just very unfulfilling life. It's like,
Mm,
who am I? What's next for me? And just in that unhappiness, I was searching for time freedom and searching for financial freedom. And what I ended up discovering and finding was that what I was truly searching for was my own personal freedom. And when I found that, it then it was amazing to me how much more happy and how much more fulfilled I was living, even though I didn't have the time freedom and financial freedom that I thought I so desired. And of course I still desire that, and I'm
sure.
still building that and going and for that, but I realized that the backbone and the root of all that is truly your own being. And so that experience of mine, going from that conforming to creating the life that I want to live, is what led me to then want to share it with as many people as I can, because I'm not the only woman out there that has
Oh,
struggled through life transitions and wondering, who am I, what's my purpose, and what's next.
I know. Oh, it's so true. And I love that. I love how your business is called Live Your Truth Journey because it is a journey.
It is.
And I absolutely love the part where you said yes, because I think we all start with, well, I want, financial freedom. I want more of this and less of this. And what it really comes down to is, yes, all that matters, but what it comes down to is that we really want personal freedom, whatever that, how you define that for
Right.
yourself. We all want that inner state of peace and contentment and well-being. And I believe that when we find that inner, when we own that, that's when the other stuff starts to fall into place, right?
Yes, absolutely.
I love that. I
Absolutely.
love that. Well, thank you. Because yes, yes to everything you said. There is not one listener who's listening to our show that has not asked herself, who am I? What do I do now? Which is code for what's my purpose and what's next and what's next, meaning what's my next step. So let's dive into, We're calling this episode Daring to Live in Your Personal Power and in the Present Moment. And I want to just talk about the present moment for a minute because that's hard. That's hard. It's
It is.
harder than ever to be in the present moment today with the noise of social media, 24/7 connectiveness. So, is there something that you have learned to do to put yourself in the present moment when you need to be?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting that you're talking about the challenge of living in a world today that is so connected. And that's also the word that I choose. And what's one of the backbone words, one of the foundations for living your truth is connection. And it is being connected to your inner being, to your inner wisdom. And so it's that awareness of your values and of your vision of what's most important to you
Hmm.
that guides you. And that is what helps you to be in the present moment. So it is important to me to spend some time connecting to myself. And I try to do that every morning with a morning routine, but even then throughout the day, asking
Yeah.
myself, in different moments, what's most important to me?
I love
Am
that.
I fully living? And so asking those questions is what does help me to live in the present moment and find
Uh,
gratitude or, just focus on when you're able to focus on what's most important. I found that, when things aren't going my way and I'm
yeah.
getting frustrated and feeling any overwhelm or disconnect, that when I ask myself that and get a little bit more focused on the future,
Hmm.
I'm then able to focus on the now moment and choose what's important now.
Yeah, that
So,
you that's it's so true. I love how you say you first of all, self-awareness, right? It's the key.
yeah,
It's the
it
key. Your
is.
self-awareness, how do you in what matters most to you, your values, how you feel, awareness of when you're starting to feel those emotions rise, awareness around reaction. It all starts with self-awareness. And I love how you tap into, what's most important to me.
Mm-hmm.
And the morning routine, I love that because I do on most mornings. I'm not going to sit here and try and pretend I'm perfect because that is so not a thing in my perfectionism is not a thing in my world. Um, but I do ask myself most mornings, how do I want to feel today? Which is really another way of saying what's most important to me right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes to our values. And we've had other episodes where we talk about values, and I don't think we can have enough talk about this. So let's talk into a little bit about what values are and how they can lead us in living our truth.
Yeah, absolutely. Values end up being one, we've already touched on it, of what's most important to you.
Right.
And they are also your beliefs,
Hmm.
but they're unique to you.
Yeah.
So, when I went through my initial uh, transition and transformation, I was struggling through an unhealthy and unhappy marriage. And I was fighting for that marriage. I was putting a lot of time and effort into it because I value family. But the difference was that when I started getting more connected to myself and rediscovering myself and truly being becoming intimately aware.
Yeah.
When I defined what family meant to me, I realized that the family that I was fighting for was not what I wanted to experience. And so my family value, of course, family is still a value for mine, but I've actually changed it so that it's more of that connection piece.
I like that.
Because in my family, I want to feel connected. I want to be supported and empowered. I want to support and empower. And most importantly, I want to share and experience life with I call them all my beloveds,
Yeah.
because it does go beyond family.
Right. Okay.
It's your most inner circle. And so your values are your beliefs. And so it's important to me when I am working with people and working with myself that it's defined
Yeah.
because family and my family value is going to be different than your family value. But even within myself, until I defined it, I wasn't making choices to truly live for myself until I defined it and got that clear,
Yeah.
okay, this is what I want.
I love that. I love that. And when we're saying about these values, there are your core values, the ones
Hmm.
that you're born with.
Yeah.
Like for me, loyalty, family, and fun. Like they're at my core. And
Yeah.
I'll do a solo episode about why fun is in there. Um, and then there's other values. We can have values that shift and change as we shift and change and grow. Because the same values outside of my core value, loyalty has always been a big one for me, and family is a big one for me. And yet there's other values that can shift and change from when you're in your teens to your 20s to your adult life. And when you're clear with that, and but understanding that, I love how you shared it, and thank you for being so real about it. If family is a core value, what about family? How do you want
Yeah.
to feel with family? And sometimes making a difficult decision to end something that does
Mhm.
affect your family is in alignment and ends up being in alignment with what you like. So I really love how you shared that. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. Thank
I
you.
like you. I love that. You talk about a personal guidance system, and I know values are part of it, but
Yes.
you also talk about there's three parts to it. Values, so getting clear on your values. And I will share with the audience that we will share something at the end that you're going to help them with. I also have another episode all about core values. So we have lots of resources for you. But you also talk about vision.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that? How that's part of the
Absolutely.
guidance system?
Well, it's it goes along with knowing what's most important to you and
Oh,
what you want to create.
okay.
And the vision that you create for yourself, for myself, it was very hazy.
Mm,
I knew that I wanted to have a family, but again, it was getting clear. And I don't feel like defining your vision is the right word, but it is very similar to how I defined my values. I had to get clear on the vision that I wanted to live. And when that is paired next to your values and where it is that you want to go, you're more able to set the goals or the benchmarks or milestones or desires or whatever it is for yourself so that you are creating that and living that and experiencing that. And it's also realizing that, and you somewhat touched on this already, or we already touched on this already, that as we're living, our core values are basically going to stay the same, but other stuff is going to
yeah.
shift and change because we are continually growing and experiencing life. And there was one moment in my life that I was so focused on the lack of what I was wanting to create and just feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm not getting here. But all of a sudden, in a moment of clarity, I realized that, well, I'm not sure why I'm feeling this way because I'm already from A to B and I am now moving on to C. And there's always going to be something more that we want because we experience life. And from those experiences, we've grown and expanded. So
Yeah.
our dreams and desires or our vision grows and expands. So we do need to continually clarify what is it that I want. And for vision, I think one of the important pieces for me when I am working on vision is not just what I want, how I want to live, but it's also pulling in the emotion.
Mm,
How do I want to feel?
I love that one. Yeah, it's a big one.
Yeah, it is.
It's
It's
and when you and I love this because I like how you call it your personal guidance system because if you do know and you are clear on what your core values are, what's most important to you, how you want to feel, what's most important to you, and then you do have a vision, it will be that much easier to make decisions to say yes to what is in alignment with that and what's not. I have something right now, as you and I are talking, I have an invitation from somebody to collaborate on something that will be great. And it's exciting.
mm-hmm.
And yet I asked for a few days to sit with it because I'm also in the middle of creating something for myself and my business, for my listeners, for my guests. And I have to really say to myself, this is exciting and it's great. And yet, is it in alignment with what is it going to take me closer to what I'm doing, or is it going to take me farther away from what my vision is?
Yeah.
And that's a hard one. And but so when you're really clear though with what you want and how you want to feel and what your goal is, whether it's a personal goal, it could be a physical fitness goal.
Right.
You could be wanting to go to the gym 3 days a week and you get invited to go to lunch and that's your gym workout time. Well, if you're really clear that your health and wellness and doing that 12 noon workout is important to you, it's not going to be hard to say, I can't do it today. I could do tomorrow, but I can't do today,
Yeah.
right? Making decisions and choices become easier
We do.
when you're using, I like the personal guidance system, because then you can choose what
Mhm.
actions to take and what not to take.
Yeah. There's so many thoughts that came up for me
What?
you were
Sure.
talking. And, one of them is what do you say yes to? And it makes it easier to say no without feeling guilt
Yes.
because you are connected. And that's what I mean about being connected to what's most important to you in your inner being, because then you are able to make the aligned decisions that move you towards what you truly want.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just love being able to say no without feeling guilt,
And for
because
me,
how
yeah.
often do we do that?
Yeah. And I'll ask anybody, a listener who's listening right now, and if you're saying, well, I don't feel guilty about saying no, well, what about FOMO? What about fear of missing out? Maybe that's yours. I don't like to think that I'm missing out on an opportunity or a fun time. So FOMO is also a real thing. And yet for me, doing that check-in like you're talking about,
Mhm.
if saying yes to that, will that move me closer or farther away? And then I have a choice to make. Well, you know what?
Yeah.
It might delay me by a day or two, but it's something I really want to do. Okay, so
Mhm.
maybe I do say yes. But I love
Yeah.
that. It's either guilt or FOMO that's going to keep us
Yeah.
chasing those other things and moving us and preventing us from really achieving that that personal freedom that you talk
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and another thing that really sticks out to me right now to share is that when you're saying yes or no to something, when you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. And when you say no to something, you're saying yes to something else. So it
Yeah.
is good to be aware of both of those. And along with that is that when you have these bigger decisions in life, I mean, when you're choosing a small decision, it's pretty easy to be yes or no. When you do get into bigger life decisions, the yes and the no, either decision, you can still be living your truth.
Yeah. I like the good point.
Because, it took me a long time to start my business Live Your Truth journey because I had to say yes to staying in IT so that I had the financial
Yes.
means to live and raise my three kids and also on the side create my business. I would have loved to have just jumped straight into my business
Yeah.
13 years ago, but that's not always how life works. And so sometimes you have to be able to say yes to this right now and no, I'm not giving everything that I want, and realize, have grace with yourself that you are still choosing to live your truth, which either direction that you do choose. And sometimes people don't always connect to that. And grace and gratitude come into play for those times because I'm a firm believer in law of attraction, and that comes in with your vision as well. So, and being connected to it emotionally. When you do, that is typically part of my morning routine is spending some time visualizing because it grounds me and centers me. And it also helps me to stay in alignment with those choices and decisions that I'm making throughout the day then.
I'm really happy you pointed that out about saying that sometimes you can't say no to something right away, but it's no, not yet. It's yes for now or no, not yet.
Yeah.
I like that. That's because and I will tell you, I've shared this with some people and they've come back to me, some women I've coached. who want to start a completely different business than their 9 to 5. And they say, but I'm frustrated because I still have to work. I'm like, I want you to hear me and trust me when I tell you this. You need your job for the income to get you started. Trust me when I tell you, when you start putting in the time on the side, on those Saturdays, on those Sundays, in those evenings, you stay up an extra hour at night to focus on that side gig that you want
Mhm.
eventually to be your full-time gig, that full-time job that you have, you start to look at it a little bit lighter. It starts to
Mhm.
feel a little bit lighter because you now have something you're looking towards. You
Absolutely.
have this goal and this dream that you're working towards. And it makes showing up for work that much better. And you take your paycheck and you work on that. So yeah, I like the whole yes for now, no, not yet. I like that.
Yeah.
Very good lesson to learn on that one. I love that. Love it all. I love this whole. So I want to talk about something because you brought it up a couple times. So you have certain morning routines. So before we get to our dare, let's give our audiences other gifts. So what are some things, strategies, tools that you pull out to help you stay in the present moment, to ground yourself? I know you mentioned a couple of them, mention them again, because I think we're going to share. I thought about as you were talking, let's share some of this and give our audience some ideas. And for example, like most mornings, I'll wake up and I'll think to myself, I look at my calendar, what do I have to do today? Well, how do I want to feel during the day? How do I want to feel by the end of the day? When I come back to this bed at night, how do I want to feel? Do I want to feel accomplished, joyful? Do I want to feel calm during the day? And then I check in with myself during the day, and that really does help me check things off in an intentional way. You mentioned visualization as something. What are some other ways,
Yeah. Well, for
practices?
my morning routine, I do like to have that quiet time. And
Hmm.
the quiet time is for me to connect with myself. And it can be visualizing. And I've got my affirmation vision type statement.
Hmm.
And I will read through that out loud or internally and also visualize at the same time. Or I'll just sit quietly and visualize and daydream. I mean, that's one thing too. I
Yes,
want to kind of give
yes,
permission to people to imagine and daydream because that does help you clarify your vision. As already said, you're growing and experiencing life, so
yeah,
expanding. So, visualizing, journaling, I am an avid journaler, and
okay,
it really is one of the ways that helps me to connect and go a little bit deeper within myself. So I know not everybody journals, and for me, I've always connected to that, to myself on a deeper, more intimate level when I do explore myself that way. And almost daily, but like you, nobody's perfect. I'm
no,
not perfect. And we also have to have grace. We can't expect ourselves to be
no.
the person that does something every day because it's important to have those breaks. Um, a question that I do like to ask myself is what does my most fulfilled, passionate self need today?
I love that.
And so I'll think about that and journal on that and begin my day that way. So it could be the being aspect
Yeah,
only, it could be a little bit of the being and the doing
yeah.
and being, doing, and
Love
experiencing.
it.
And so those are some of the things that I do in the morning. I'm also really big on well-being. So, I like to exercise and start my day with water and all those things. And then in the evening, I used to go to bed just judging myself very negatively for
Mm.
all the things that I didn't get done. And
Yeah.
then I would wake up feeling overwhelmed and anxious because I already had this mile long to do list. And so I learned through my personal growth journey that, okay, I still create my list of what I want to do the next day, but then I end my day with gratitude.
Yes.
I typically write it out. Sometimes I'll just think about it,
Hmm.
but ending my day with gratitude, and I mean, it can be just the sun was out, grateful
Yeah.
for my kids. But when I do that, it doesn't take long for that to actually
Yeah.
easily be, I'm grateful for my son being proud. I'm grateful for laughter. And it just grows and expands. And try to use gratitude throughout the day. Not
Yeah.
always. Doesn't always happen. Again, not always perfect. Never want to be perfect. We're perfectly
No.
imperfect.
Yeah.
So,
I say be daring, not perfect. That's my motto.
yes, I love
Yeah.
it.
So I love that. So yeah, gratitude is a big one. So there, everybody, you have a few practices. And if you have a practice, share it with us. Send us a comment in the show notes at the top. It says fan mail. You can click that. It doesn't allow me to respond to you or know exactly who you are. But if you have a practice that grounds you, that sets a tone, that allows you to become fully present, let us know. I'll share it with Erin too. Send me a message. But I love all of those. Erin, thank you. And thank you for this important conversation because learning how to use our personal guidance system to stay present and true to ourselves is really the path to, living your truth, living your
Yeah,
truth. And
I
as your
agree.
company, it's a journey, live your truth journey. And all ways to connect with Erin are in the show notes below. But Erin, we don't leave the show without a dare for the audience. And I know you have a great dare that's accompanied by an amazing resource. So what is the dare you have for our listeners today?
Well, the dare is to live your truth. And I'll remind you that living your truth is being your authentic being and following your own unique path. So I dare you to live your truth.
Okay. And you have a resource to go along with that.
I do. I created a wisdom and awareness workbook, and it is a interactive PDF, and it does help you dig into your values and your vision and start defining your values and vision. And I actually create your own personal compass within that workbook for you.
I love that. So we will have your dare in the show notes below, along with a link to the Wisdom and Awareness Workbook and other links for you to connect with Erin and learn more about all she does to support women in living your truth journey. Erin, thank you for being on the show. I greatly appreciate it. You shared so much wisdom. I know our listeners walked away with a lot. So we want to hear what they walked away with, and they hopefully you will all share with us what you walked away with in the form of a review, leave a comment, but whatever you do, just start living your truth today. Dare on. If living your truth and connecting with what matters most to you resonates, then we would love to hear from you. Please consider leaving us a review on your favorite podcast platform. We're everywhere because your reviews and your 5-star ratings help us reach more women, allowing us to fulfill our mission of empowering you to dare more, doubt less, and live fully. And don't forget to tune in next week because we have a really fun conversation on how to use our mobile devices to connect with our kids. Let's stop hating the text messages. Let's stop hating the mobile devices and maybe, just maybe, use it as a way to deeper those connection with our children. Until then, dare on.